Hi everyone, this is a quick and really abysmal, apologies, video of the former site of RAF Balderton. RAF Balderton is RAF Balderton. So where some of the aircraft took off for Operation Market Garden. US Air Force was based here. There's some kind of track here I'm walking down. They were based here. It's also where Leonard Cheshire VC learnt to fly the Lancaster. Bit of history for you. No one's ever heard of it. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see here, you see in the distance those lorries and stuff. That is the A1. Okay, the A1 now goes through the middle of what was RAF Balderton. At the back, you see the power lines. You see that mound right in front that the lorry's going past in a minute. Keep looking around that lorry, you'll see what I mean. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There. That is the other side of the A1, obviously. That is where they dug it all up for quarries after the war. So most of this was quarried. But this is all RAF Balderton, 2 miles south of Newark. So it's about 3 or 4 miles from Winthorpe. Here's some original, I'm going to say runway, looking at it. Just show you here. There is a section of the runway, like the centre section, about, I don't know, 6 foot square, that they've managed to actually save. But this is actually the concretey bit of the runway, I would imagine, or a taxiway, one or the other. History's not my strong point. I just like World War II stuff. So obviously these were buildings of some description at some point. I've always seen this from the road, but I've never actually been on it. Obviously across here as well, let me just show you, at the back here, that building there, called Lancaster Grange. That's a care home. £1,000 a week, for Christ's sake, for someone to wipe your bum. It's a care home. And, yeah, there we go. And so I think, because I remember the runway ended up, the end of the runway was near that care home. So that tells me this, looking here, was one of the main runways, because I remember seeing a map and it ended at that care home. And when you look through the gap here, there's a mound, looks slightly to the left. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit. There. So where those speed limit signs are, so literally between that mound and that blue sign, that is a lane called Hollodyke Lane. That was one of the roads to do with the war originally. And then over here, where this car's just pulling out, that there's a road to a village called Claypole. You go through Claypole, keep going through Claypole, you end up at Fullbeck, another RAF base. But anyway, so and roughly where that pylon is, was where the World War II gym was, just this side of it. The gym was only demolished a couple of years ago, but there were still some buildings there. But this is RAF Balderton. Sorry if I'm boring you. I'm not a history expert, just a bit of a World War II anorak. Embarrassed the hell out of the wife, but she doesn't understand. So there we go. So anyone that follows any of my YouTube, and I've got like, wow, 26 subscribers, maybe ought to do selfie nudes like Kim Kardashian, I get loads. Nobody wants to see that. But then this, yeah, this is, I'm suspecting, one of the runways. So let's just have a quick perusal. It's a shame that people just fly tip here. I don't mean, so disrespectful. Got a lot of rabbits. So yeah, I think, well, I know that bit we've seen was the runway. So this might have been an intersection of another runway, I don't know. But I suspect I'm standing looking roughly the direction of one of the runways. I'll try and find a little bit more about it. And another really interesting thing here, I'll tell you something else first. Right, basically, where these hedges are, like these trees and stuff, that's houses. The other side of there is the main entrance. Basically, these power lines here, these ones, not the grey ones, just this one, like woodeny one there. That power line, that goes across there. So just behind those houses is where the main entrance was. And there's actually a memorial there for RAF Balderton, like just from the airfields of Great Britain Trust, just to basically acknowledge that it was there. But yeah, basically there was some of the runways here. A really interesting thing I was going to tell you, sorry to bore you, is thus. So this is obviously where Sir Frank Whittle tested the jet engine as well. So he actually stayed in a house not far from this village, but Sir Frank Whittle tested the jet engine here. How he did that is he took the rotor out of a Wellington, stuck his jet engine in, as you do, took off with both propellers turning, obviously, turned the engine off, turned the propellers off, and apparently the locals couldn't work out how this Wellington was flying, making a weird noise, without the propellers turning. I suspect that's your answer. So he was testing the jet engines. This is really quite a famous isn't the word, significant, quite a significant airbase. Say, Leonard Cheshire learned to fly the Lancs here, Operation Market Garden here. And Frank Whittle tested the jet engine here. It's only about, I don't know, 12 miles from Cranwell, something like that. So this is like proper history again. I just hate the fact people flight it. They're just vermin, aren't they? Why would you do that? They don't care. There you go. But yeah, so if only these paths could talk, eh? Very interesting. Very interesting. So that's RAF Balderton. Balderton, if you want to check it. Can't tell you a lot more about it at the minute. There is, if you go on Facebook, or not on Facebook, because I kept getting banned. When it didn't get banned, everyone got offended. You know what they're like, bloody snowflake generation. I'm not allowed to say that. But anyway, so yeah, they if you go on Facebook, search RAF Balderton Research Group or something, there is a page dedicated to them. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this because it's quite significant for history wise. So yeah, so that's the care home. This was possibly one of the runways looking at it. Obviously another one went this way towards the care home. But yeah, quite interesting nonetheless. So I'll just walk back this way. I'm sorry, I'm fat and I'm overweight. I'm going grey and I'm getting old. So I just sound like a bloke that's heavy breathing on the phone, but without the sexy voice, do you know what I mean? Not Leslie Grantham or anything. So yeah, RAF Balderton. Frank Whittle tested the jet engine, Market Garden, Air Force here with the Dakotas. I'm sure there's quite a lot of history here if I start digging a lot. I don't really have the time, but if I did, I would. My brother, incidentally, used to work for a company who owned some of the land where the gymnasium was over the other side. And obviously, as a kid, I used to go around there, but I really wasn't into it as a kid. I wish now I knew, but they only got rid of the gymnasium a couple of years ago. It was falling apart basically, and it wasn't safe, so it had to go. But yeah, that's RAF Balderton way. The other side, obviously it went along here more where these buildings are. The one on the left with the red, horrible looking thing, that's a new school. Another quite interesting thing about RAF Balderton is where the houses are there. That's an estate called Fernwood. Used to be RAF Balderton Hospital until quite recently. I remember playing on there as a teenager. So I don't think a lot of them houses haven't been there that long because they're still actually building. So probably still until the 90s. There's a load of buildings across there still. Some of them used to be used for like mental health people. This is nice. Let me just show you. This is like a hut. It's nice looking, isn't it? But yeah, so they were used for like mentally handicapped people. So if I remember, my mum and dad used to take a mentally handicapped lad out from there called Kevin a long time ago. Like he'd got I don't know what you call it, but he wasn't well anyway. And he went in one of the buildings there, but haunted some of those buildings apparently. The other side, there are some cottages there that have been there for quite a while. I know someone that lives in one of them, and he's had an airman walk through his living room, as you do. So yeah, they still have the buildings there. There's still a tower there. If you go down the A1, just south of Newark, you see like a clock tower to the left. That was the old laundrette thing. That's still there. They can't knock that down because it's a listed building. Now, there was talk of trying to make that into a restaurant at some point. I don't know if they still are. Some dodgy dealings with council, one would imagine. But yeah, so it's just good to know as well. Also, really interesting, Johnny Johnson, Dan Buster, obviously, mega famous, bless him, nice bloke. Johnny Johnson, he was based after the Dan Buster stuff, went on to do a few other bits, left the Air Force, didn't know what to do, ended up as a mentor and a teacher, and ended up at a school about 1.5 miles from where I am called Highfields, posh private school. God, look at these hailstones now. Can you see? Hang on. Oh, there we go. Well, so anyway, yeah, here, ouch, that hurts. He went to a school about 1 mile away from here called Highfields, where they still have a bit of a star there, to be fair, and they still have like a Johnny Johnson Memorial Cup or something. I'm supposed to be flying him in there for his 100th birthday, hopefully, if I can arrange it by helicopter. That'll be pretty cool. Picking him up from his home, near enough, and flying him in there. But anyway, yeah, RAF Balderton, he ended up there after the war at what is the RAF Balderton site now. So he was there post-war before I went to Highfield, so he finds that all quite interesting. But yeah, I suspect, obviously this lake thing is new, but there are other ones, other bits of ponds and stuff, where perhaps aircraft crashed. It'll be very interesting to come around here in the middle of the night with a metal detector. Not that I'm going to, because it's not my land, but if I was going to, that'll be the time to do it. But I think it will be very interesting. Obviously you've got this, all this land as well. This was part of it. There's all like lumps and clumps, like buildings have been knocked down. Yeah, that's the care home where it's the end of the runway. So this is quite a significant one. I might try and get to a couple of places that are relevant. These, if I do them, they'll be tiny, like YouTube clips, about 10 seconds, because there's not a lot to show you. But God, it's right hailing now. Can you see? As you can see, I tell you what, it's stinging as well. So yeah, all this land was part of it. It'll be very interesting to see what's under here, I reckon. Some of these mounds must have been buildings. Sorry, this is right, really strong. I don't know if you can hear it against my coat. You can hear that. Obviously I've just had my drone up. It will be on YouTube as well. But yeah, these mounds must be something completely relevant. God, that is so painful, honestly. I'm not a pussy, but that is quite powerful. So yeah, there's bits of like concrete bits and stuff here, look. Like, so I think there'll be some interesting stuff under here, I would imagine. But yeah, so that's RAF Balderton. So if you go on RAF Balderton Research Group on Facebook, you'll find it. If you Google it, you'll find it. If you read Johnny Johnson's book, The Last Dambuster, which I thoroughly recommend, he has a lot to do with this area. Johnny Johnson, was at the school across there. Then he was just at the school down the road. His first emergency landing was actually at Fullbeck, which, as I've said, is like about 2 miles that way. So he did his first emergency landing on 3 engines on his first mission because he had a problem. So all this is really relevant. I'm a bit of a Dambusters geek. He was from around this area. He was born in Lincolnshire, moved to a place called Langford, which is near Winthorpe, about a mile from RAF Winthorpe, basically. Another interesting thing about Winthorpe, there's supposed to be an airman that's seen walking down the old road, which is basically in line with one of the runways. Never made it back, had a crash. There we go. So another little thing for you. But yeah, he was from Langford, which is about a mile from Winthorpe. It's where he lived. When you read about the farm, that's where he lived, like with his dad. And his dad used to beat him up, not a very nice man. About 3 or 4 miles north of that is a village called Collingham, where Johnny Johnson went to school. Sorry, I'm just you don't want to see my face, that's why I'm just filming this. Nobody wants to see my face. It's really raining now, well, snowing now. And then I don't know if you can see, yeah, so and then at Collingham, he lived there as well. His dad and his sister are buried in the churchyard there. But yeah, he went to lived in Langford, went to Winthorpe School, which is right near RAF Winthorpe, as I say, which is so much history. That is where Newark Air Museum is now. Now RAF Winthorpe is where Squadron Leader Jim Warwick used to fly out of. Squadron Leader Jim Warwick is the man that died with Guy Gibson in the Mosquito on the 19th of September 1944. So all kind of ties in quite nicely. But yeah, there was a village school in Winthorpe where Johnny Johnson used to have to walk to school every day. So if you read about that, if anybody wants videos of any of them, just let me know. So it won't be quick, because like the school now is somebody's house, so I can't really be hanging around there filming. It looks dodgy. But I'll try and film another couple of bits. They'll be really short, it'll be like literally 10 seconds, right? But it's just for anyone that's not been in the area, they know. If I could upload photos to YouTube, it will be a lot easier. But you can only do videos, so you have to put up with my annoying voice waffling for ages. to get any of the history. But yeah, so there we go, RAF Balderton. So what I'll try and do now, I'll try and get a few other bits and just upload them. I said they're only about 10 seconds at a time. But yeah, if you want any more sort of this area, if anyone wants any more videos of this area, they're not local or whatever, just give me a shout. Want to go on an aviation road trip around here? Okay, give me a shout. But yeah, I'll put it on YouTube. If you want any comments, comment. Anything else you want me to try and video and upload, I'll obviously do that. But yeah, there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this. Sorry I've waffled. I always talk bollocks. My wife tells me I do. Sorry, that's an expletive. It's not for kids. Thanks very much. Cheers.